So you know how some people have a Monica closet in their house where you just put all the things you don't quite know what to do with and the rest of the house can stay nice and tidy, but you have this closet of shame? Well, we have a Monica room, or at least we used to have a Monica room. Hey guys, Hillary here. Welcome back to Old World Home. We are tackling one of our biggest organizational projects to date. We are finally tackling the storage room that's in our basement. If you guys have been following along, you may know that we have been working on this basement renovation for the past year, basically, and we refinished most of the living space already, but that left this storage room where we had to just throw everything to get it out of the way because we hadn't made a decision on whether we want it or not, because it was a building supply that we thought, oh, maybe we'll use it. You know, it's just that space. And then that was pretty much summer and fall, and then we went into the holiday season, and now it's January, and thanks to Dawn from The Minimal Mom, I am motivated to get this space in order and really be able to organize the things that we do need to store, that we do actually want to keep and use, and then just get rid of the rest. So let me take you back to about a week and a half ago and show you where we started. All right, so I've been working for about an hour, day one, and it doesn't look terribly different, but I know I've made a lot of progress. So this whole contractor bag is trash, that's all going. This is a box of donations that's already starting to fill up. I'm sure I'll fill the whole thing. And we have some chairs that will eventually go for the kids' craft area. This is an extra dining room chair that we do pull up when we need an extra seat. And then we have a lot of kids' clothes, and it's mostly clothes for Lara, to be honest. It's things that Evie's grown out of and she's not quite ready for. But we also have some Easter and spring decor, a little bit of Christmas. The rest of Christmas is still hasn't come in yet. And then some fall books are back there. And then this is all home decor, and I'm really trying to get rid of as much as possible. That's kids' clothes. It's really just, this is also a wood rack. So just those frames, and then these three, that's all Halloween and fall decor. But I'm never gonna get away with wanting to be able to switch up my decor and having other options available. So I'm trying to really be conscious of what I'm keeping, and I've been donating a lot. And then over here, this is mostly going to be like tools and home repair type things, scrap wood. This is all from renovating, and I really need my husband's help to go through it to decide what needs to be kept and what we can get rid of. These are the pillows for our outdoor furniture, so that is just seasonal. This bed frame will be Luke's when he moves out of the crib, so we're just storing that down here for now. And then it's still quite a mess over here. These racks, this is my next goal, is to set these up and be able to actually start putting some things, get them up off the floor and get them vertically stored, because eventually the plan is to cover up this insulation because we finished the other side of the basement. We're gonna cover that up. I don't know if we're gonna cover the cinder blocks or if we're just gonna paint it. I'm okay with just painting. I found some books that I can bring upstairs, put on the bookshelves. This chair is gonna go. I got it for free. Didn't wind up using it like I thought I would. It's just covered in drywall dust. So I'll dust that off, and I can probably just put that on the curb. I'm sure somebody will take it. The ironing board and iron, I don't ever iron. And I pretty much keep it because my mother-in-law likes to use it if she comes over. So I think what I'm gonna do is actually maybe invest in a steamer, because that is much smaller. I don't need the ironing board, and then I'll have something for her to use if she needs it. And then the folding chairs, again, we used to use them when we had guests come over, but we really haven't used them, and we've hosted plenty of parties in the past 3 years. So I asked my brother if he wants them. He said he'll take them. And this whole craft area, this is a work in progress too. Just focusing on over here for now. Okay, so I think this is my stopping point for today. Been working for like an hour and a half. I can't figure out how to put this back together. There's a lot of extra parts. There doesn't seem to be enough of these connectors, so I don't know. I'll ask Dan when he gets home. But I did get this one together. That was super simple. So I have all the like the smaller totes up there. Normally my Christmas things go in this area, so for now it was just get things up off the floor. Tons of garbage is going and donations, so I'm happy with this kind of day one progress. All right, so this is now a couple days later. I was able to go through those 2 boxes that were on the floor with my husband, and we were able to get another full contractor bag of garbage, which we have another one out in the other part of the basement. This is all trash, and everything in here is trash. So all of that was on the floor is now gone. And we were able to donate even more things. We went through this a little bit more and kind of thinned it out. These are some empty bins, and it's just generally looking a little bit tidier, a little bit more space. All of this will go. That screen is garbage. And then we couldn't quite figure out, again, how to put this thing together, and I don't quite know if we're even going to need it. And I'd also really like to, since this is the door, you know, when you walk in, I would like to actually move our deep freezer to this section. It would be much easier to get to, you know, just kind of quickly coming in from the door than going all the way to the back. Our deep freezer is all the way back there, so I would really love to move it. I think it'd be a much better use of the space. We did put together another rack. This was actually in our last house, and it had like a cover, like a canvas cover, and I think it was meant to hold like out of season clothing because it has this bar across it. And then the girls started hanging things on it. But we can use that to store things. And then I did put this black one together, so I was able to get a lot more bins up off the floor. But then just today, I went to Home Depot and I got some paint. So I had someone at Home Depot help me decide what products to get. So for the walls, we're gonna do this masonry, stucco, and brick, which is also good for cinder block. And I did just go with the stock white color. It, you know, could get basically any color. I just wanted to be nice and bright in here. And because we're paneling, the paneling will be white. And then for the floors, he recommended this one. And I talked to 2 different gentlemen, and the second said that he had this in his basement and he's had it for 15 years and it still looks great. So I don't know if that was just him trying to sell me on it. If it did, then it worked. But I wound up going with this color, kind of like a putty, I don't know, beigey color. It's called what? Oh, it's called Putty Beige. Look at that. But then they also recommended using this muriatic acid as a prep on the floors, and it will kind of etch them a little bit so that the paint really adheres better than if you didn't use this. So to do all of that, that means that I need to clear everything out of this room, which is going to be quite the task. Well, I've only painted 1 wall so far, and I'm already so happy with it. It looks so much better than it did before, and especially once the paneling goes up here, you won't see that anymore. And then I definitely want to put the deep freezer here. It makes so much sense. There's outlets here. I don't know why we never thought of that. But that's going to be a much better use of that space. And it looks so much fresher than it did before, and I can't wait to go all the way around the room. It's now a couple days later. I'm coming down to continue painting, but in order to continue to paint this wall, I have to take all the tools off. And I have a bin here that I'm going to fill up, and I need to move it anyways because we might reconfigure it, so now's as good a time as any. So after working on this room for, like I said, the past week and a half or so, let me show you how it looks now. All right, so now when we walk in, you can hear I'm echoing because the room is looking so much better. It is almost completely cleared out. you can see that I did finish painting the walls. All of the cinder block I painted nice bright white because there are no windows in this room, that I just thought white was the best option. And then we covered up all of the exposed insulation with just beadboard panels. And yes, you can kind of see the seams. It's really no big deal. They're gonna be covered for the most part by all of the storage racks. And then over on this wall, we had another panel, and we have this shelf that was actually in our pantry upstairs when we bought this house. And my plan is to clean it up and possibly paint it and use it actually on this wall to store like small cans of paint and like things like this, like spray paint, fire blocker, Scotchgard, like all those little kinds of cans of things. That's a perfect use for it. And now that the room is cleared out, we are gonna take out the deep freezer and all of these things here too. But the next step is to paint the floors. And we are going to use the shop vac. I have swept, but it's so dusty. And now I'm having second thoughts about this muriatic acid. I'm reading conflicting things online about how good this is actually to use before painting concrete. So if anyone has ever done this, please let me know. What do you think is the best choice? Since this isn't like a room in our house that we're gonna be walking on constantly, I don't know. I don't know if it's really necessary, and I'm a little concerned about the concerns that I was reading about. But this floor paint does have a primer in it. So I'm wondering if we might be okay to just clean it really well. It never has been painted, so it might be okay. I'm not quite sure. We're gonna have to figure that out. But as I'm sure you've figured out, since this room is empty, that means that the entire finished part of our basement is full of everything that was in here. So this is how this part is looking. Oh my gosh, it's quite a disaster. It goes all the way back there, and we even have some more bins and things over here. We have made so many trips to the donation center, to the dumpster. This is all trash, that's trash, that's trash. These are trash. Those chairs I'm gonna give to my brother. And everything that's gonna be going back in all needs to be wiped down because it's all very dusty from just sitting in that room. Have all my Christmas things here. So our goal is by the end of this month, by the end of January, to have the floors painted, to have everything wrapped up so that we can bring everything back in and really use this space to its best, you know, usage, and only be storing things that we're actually going to use in the future or a seasonal thing. I've really been ruthless. I've been kind of looking at this room as I was decluttering and getting rid of things, and I kind of had like a moving mentality. Like if we were to move, would I want to hold on to this? Like some things we got rid of, like building materials, that it's like, okay, are we ever going to be needing to replace an entire wall of drywall? Like we had a whole big sheet of it. And it's like, we may need to patch a hole here and there. We probably won't be replacing a whole wall. So while it is like a $10, $20 item, we were okay getting rid of it because if the time ever came up that we needed a gigantic piece of drywall, we are just gonna go ahead and purchase it. It may not ever happen, so there's no sense in storing it. I also got rid of a lot of paint that we weren't using, tons of paint samples that I had bought, either for like projects, like kids paint, and just so much I got rid of because we weren't using it, we hadn't used it for a long time, and I didn't see us using it anytime soon. So everything that's left behind is going to be things that actually will have a future use for us. So I'm excited to get this room put all back together. So please leave me a comment if you have any tips about painting concrete floors. And I hope to have this full reveal ready for you guys by the end of the month. So if you're new here, be sure to stick around and subscribe. I am doing the January, what's called a clutter-free January with Dawn from the Minimal Mom. She's kind of, hosting it. And then there's a ton of other collaborators that are participating. So next week we're going to talk about paper clutter, and then the final week is going to be storage rooms and memorabilia and things like that. So that's kind of what I'm gearing up for here. So if you're new, be sure to stick around and subscribe, and I'll be talking to you soon. Take care, guys. Bye.